Hey everybody, DM Jim here, and welcome to another episode of Game Terrain Engineering. This is going to be a little short video. It's a product review, and it comes from a product from Inroad Toys. It's called PlayTape. You can see it right here. It's a piece of road that curves. They also sent me a roll of 30 feet of this tape. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to test it, see how it works. One of the claims on the roll is that it's repositionable. Meaning I guess you could peel it off and reposition it if you made a mistake, and that it doesn't leave a residue. So definitely going to check that out. But for those of you who aren't aware, I'm doing this for a game called Gaslands. I've made a few previous videos on it. It's a combat war game using small cars, toy cars that you like this one. You paint it up, put some weapons on it, and you fight. And I'll put a link right here to some of the videos that I've done previously for Gaslands. But this is an interesting product for me because it brings back memories of an old game called Car Wars. I used to play Car Wars back in the early 80s. I still have all my original stuff. Car Wars was a bird's eye view type game. You didn't have three-dimensional cars. You had these little chits. And they moved like in 1-inch increments along a road. And the very first game that was released, none of the expansions for Car Wars, basically you just played on these long stretches of highway. So your cars would move and you would fight other cars. And when you needed another stretch of road, you just added another stretch of road. So this is going to be interesting to be able to make or recreate that effect for Gaslands, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it along with some chipboard to create a bunch of equal length roadways that I will then probably add some debris and hazards and things like that to. But this will make up the road. And again, I'm going to get to test to see some of the claims about it being repositionable or not leaving a residue. Now, repositionable for me is not a big deal because once I put this stuff down on chipboard and cut it out, I really don't have a plan to reuse it. So 30 feet is quite a bit. I'm going to be using these 12 inches by 12 inch pieces of chipboard. So I should be able to get, 30 of these? So not too bad. Let's go to the table and take a look. First thing I want to tell you is that the company sent me to review two different types. Here is the PlayTape. This is 15 feet, but you may notice that it's a smaller gauge. This roll, let me open it here. This roll is definitely not going to work with the cars that we use for the game, Matchbox. I mean, I guess it could. You do one lane only, but ideally you want 2 lanes, right? But this roll is definitely the right scale, as you can see. So let's just give it a shot. Let me do an angled or a curved piece. Here are the stickers. These come 2 to a package, 2 like this. They sent me 2 to test. I may have to buy an additional 2 if I want to make an oval track. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and peel this off. Has that same feel of sort of like a vinyl, very, very thin vinyl. And let's see. All right, there we go. The adhesive is really good. I'm not seeing any peeling or curling. I can tell you just from feeling the adhesive on the back, it's a strong adhesive. Strong enough that won't curl, but not so strong that you can't peel it off. Let's test this side. I'll save this side. Here we go. So it said no residue and repositionable. Now, as you can see, it's pulling up some of the chipboard, but my guess is that if you did that on foam, like XPS foam, it would not do that. Now let's see if it smooths back down and stays, or does it curl. It doesn't look like it's peeling back up, but later in this video, I'm going to peel this completely off, stick it to the back side, and see how it adheres. We'll check that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'm going to create some debris and hazards for the road, and we'll come back and see what it looks like after that. One of the things I'm going to create for these little stretches of road are some debris. First thing I'm going to do is, you've noticed I've drawn this weird little shape here. I'm going to apply some hot glue to this and make what's called an oil slick. Just going around, and then I'm going to fill it in. And when it dries, I'll paint it black, and that'll make an oil slick for the road. There we go. And then the next thing I've got a bunch of little pieces of, junk here. I'm just going to lay down some hot glue and push these in. I've got some sort of funnel looking thing, a big piece of metal, some tubing, some wires. You can make it stand up if you want. That'll make it look a little more realistic. Let's see, I got some chain here. I guess I could go throw some chain over like that. Again, this is just impromptu. I just need something to throw down on the table to act as debris, and then I'll prime it black and then paint it some different colors to make it look like real debris. There we go. All right, hot oil or oil slick and debris pile. I've painted a car, the oil slick, and the debris with some black primer, and I'm going to do some detail work on that in a minute, but it's been a little over an hour. I've come back to this piece. I'm going to go ahead and peel it and see if I can re-stick it. So let's see if it does, if it's reusable. Not bad. All right, flip it over, put it down. Well, that's pretty impressive. It actually, I took it off to this side, restuck it on this side, and I'm not seeing any peeling from the edges. I'll watch this for a few more hours and see if there's any peeling or curling, but that's pretty slick. So anyway, I'll wait and see how that does, but so far so good. Here's my two pieces. I did trim this one. Was it this one or was it this way? Yeah, it was the, I can't remember. Anyway, I trimmed it so that the lines sort of line up better. You can see that right here. And here is the cutout corner piece, like that. Okay. And anyway, one thing about this piece right here, this is called the 4-inch wide road or PlayTape. The other is the 2-inch. I wanted to show you on the back here, if you can see this. This curved piece works with a 4-inch. They have a smaller curved piece which works with a 2, but they also have this gradual curve, and it says it only works with a 2-inch. I don't think they have a gradual edge like this one for the 4-inch, but I will check online and see, and I'll include that in the comments if I do find anything. So it would be nice to have a more gradual cornering or turn, but right now it looks like this 90-degree turn is the only option for the PlayTape series. All right, so what next? Well, the oil slick I'm happy with. This is something that you can just throw on the road. You know, some of the cars in Gaslands have an oil dropper, or I can't remember what they call it, an oil spray, and it puts out a very large coating, much larger than this. But if you're just going to have just a one-off game with some friends, you could litter the road with oil slicks and debris. And basically what this is when you're moving the vehicle, obviously you want to try to avoid hazards, because in the game, these are considered like minor collisions, or it can reduce, I think things like oil slick. I have to go back to the rules, but they affect your speed or your handling, so they can cause it to be more difficult to maintain your vehicle, or they can actually do things like slow you down or reduce your gear speed. So these are just some examples of things that that I've created. I'm going to paint this up a little bit so it's not all black, and I'm also going to paint this car to look like a destroyed, fire-burned wreck that you could just put on the road. So almost done here, and I'll show you everything when I've pulled it all together in just a moment. And that's it. It's real simple to just stick down this PlayTape on some chipboard to create these road lengths that you can, just keep adding to them as the race continues, right? The tape comes with 30 feet. Each one of these is almost a foot, so you could make, 28 of these with a little bit of waste on each end that you're going to trim away. That's plenty. Preferably, probably all you want to do is make maybe 10. And then the rest of the tape could be used to do maybe some crisscross stuff, whatever you can come up with, some intersections, that kind of thing. While I was doing this, I just got it in my mind that I would go dig up some of my Car Wars stuff. This is the original Car Wars that I have. I think this was 1980, maybe 81. All blends when you get older. But this little box from Steve Jackson Games, it came with the rule box, the little chits for the cars. This is what started it. This is Sunday Drivers. This, I believe, provided rules for, was it motorcycles, police, and pedestrians and things like that. If you're playing Gaslands, there's you can actually use 18-wheelers in that. They call them war rigs. Car Wars had that. Here it is. It's called Truck Stop. This was the rules for creating a big rig with all the armor and stuff like that. If you are interested in Car Wars and want to pick it up, it's actually been reprinted right here. This box comes with the updated rules, some bigger, I think the chits are bigger. Let me take a look. Nope, the chits are the same. Take a look in there. You can see some cars and some smoke and things like that. You get a bag of chits with it, the rule book, and some sheets to record your cars and motorcycles and stuff. I was such a big fan of this game. I played this way more than I ever should in middle school. But such a good time. And it's really fun to look back at that and see how far the game has progressed. Gaslands, uses the full Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars. No more chits. And, of course, it's a bigger scale, too. So, anyway, that does it for this video. I will include some close-up images of the road strips and the corner piece and some of the debris and hazards that I made here. I've got oil slicks, some junk, and a crashed car. Maybe these will give you some ideas if you're a Gaslands player. If you're not a Gaslands player, my only question is why not? You should really check it out. The rulebook is like $13 on Amazon. It's just such an incredible game. It's growing leaps and bounds. I'm finding new players joining constantly. There's a Facebook page dedicated to it, and I've played a number of games, and it's just too much fun. Making the little cars and adding weapons and detailing them and stuff, it's just never gets old. Anyway, listen, thanks for joining me on this episode. I do want to add this. If you have been anxiously awaiting another Star Wars Legion video, Star Wars Legion is the Star Wars war game that's coming out on March 22nd, if memory serves. I've made some Star Wars terrain previously. You can check out one of those videos here. I am not done with Star Wars Legion. You will be happy to know my 3D printer is
fully armed and operational.
My 3D printer is working, and so I am fast at work right now on a new Star Wars terrain video that I'm hoping to have out in the next few weeks, and I think you'll like it. Anyway, this is DM Jim. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.